You already know this feeling even if you've never had a name for it. A face that's almost right. But something is wrong. A wax figure. A too smooth AI video. A doll whose eyes seem to follow you half a second too long. Your skin crawls. And you couldn't say exactly why. That's the uncanny valley. The strange point where something looks so close to alive that the tiny part that's off becomes the most disturbing thing in the room. You feel it. I feel it. But here's the question almost nobody asks. Does your dog? When your pet growls at a person in a mask or freezes at something in the corner you can't even see, is it feeling the exact same dread you do? Because if it is, then this creepy feeling was never really about dolls or robots at all. It's far, far older than any of that. Let's start with where the idea comes from. The term Uncanny Valley was coined in 1970. Not by a psychologist, but by a Japanese robotics engineer named Masahiro Mori. He noticed something strange about building robots. As a robot looks more and more human, people like it more and more. A friendly face, a familiar shape. But then, right before it becomes perfect, something snaps. At the point where it's almost human but not quite, that rising affection falls off a cliff into pure dread. He drew it as a graph, with a deep dip right before the peak. That dip is the valley. And the closer something gets to the edge of alive without crossing it, the deeper it falls. So why does a nearly perfect face bother us more than an obviously fake one? The leading answer is that your brain is a prediction machine. Every time you look at a person, you are running thousands of silent expectations. How the eyes should move, how the skin should catch the light, how long a smile should take to spread. You don't notice any of it because real humans always pass the test. But a wax figure, a CGI character, a robot, they get almost everything right, and then break one tiny rule. The smile lands a half second late. The eyes don't quite track together, and each little broken expectation fires a quiet alarm in your head. Error. 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 Pile enough of those up, and your brain reaches a conclusion it can't put into words. That thing is wrong. Get away from it. And notice, movement makes it so much worse than a still picture. A photo of a creepy doll is unsettling. A creepy doll that moves is a nightmare. Motion just gives your brain 100 more predictions to break. For a long time, everyone assumed this was a uniquely human problem. You need a rich idea of what a person is before something can fail to be one. But then a study cracked that assumption wide open. In 2009, two researchers at Princeton, Sean Steckenfinger and Asif Ghazenfar, sat 5 macaque monkeys in front of a screen and tracked exactly where their eyes went. They showed the monkeys 3 kinds of monkey face: a real one, a cartoonish, unrealistic one, and a computer-generated face that was almost photoreal. The monkey version of the uncanny valley. And the monkeys did something remarkable. They happily stared at the real faces. They happily stared at the obviously fake ones. But the almost real face, they looked away. They avoided it, exactly the way a human flinches from a too perfect android. It was the first time the uncanny valley had ever been found in any animal that wasn't us. And that changes the whole story. If a monkey feels it too, then the uncanny valley isn't some quirk of modern life that arrived with robots and movie effects. It's old. Older than humans. Old enough that we may have inherited it from an ancestor we share with monkeys, tens of millions of years ago, long before anyone carved a single doll. Which means the dread you feel staring at a wax figure isn't a glitch. It's a very old piece of machinery, switching on in a world it was never built for. But, and this is the honest part, science hasn't closed the case. That monkey study was small, just 5 animals, and when other researchers tried the idea again years later with a more advanced virtual monkey, they couldn't get the same flinch. Some of those monkeys didn't seem bothered at all, so the truth is we're still arguing about it. The uncanny valley might be an ancient instinct burned into the primate brain. Or it might be something we partly learn. Right now, nobody can say for sure. And that uncertainty only gets deeper the moment you leave monkeys behind. Because here's the thing about your dog. We don't actually know if dogs feel the uncanny valley. It's never been cleanly proven. Yes, dogs react to robot dogs. They bark at people in masks. They get spooked by something moving wrong in the dark. But that might not be the uncanny valley at all. It might just be a much simpler rule. That's new, that's strange, be careful. A dog backing away from a robot could be feeling deep existential dread, or it could just be weirded out by a noisy machine. The maddening part is that, from the outside, fear of the uncanny and plain old fear of the unfamiliar look almost exactly the same. We can watch the monkey look away. We just can't yet climb inside its head to ask why. Still, there's a reason scientists suspect something ancient is hiding under all of this. Think about what kinds of almost right things would have mattered to a survival machine. A face that's the right shape, but the wrong color. A body that moves, but not quite like the living move. Eyes that are open, but empty. For millions of years, the things that looked almost like one of your own, but weren't, were exactly the things you needed to avoid. The sick, the dying, the dead. A predator wearing a familiar shape. An instinct that screamed, something is wrong here. Keep your distance would have kept your ancestors alive. The uncanny valley may simply be that instinct, still running. A built-in detector for the corpse, the disease, the imposter. And that's the strange, quiet punchline to all of this. We think of the uncanny valley as something new. A problem for animators. A side effect of AI. A glitch of the modern world. But it might be one of the oldest warnings in the animal mind. An alarm built to spot a dead body or a sick stranger across the firelight, tens of thousands of years before the first machine. We didn't invent the creepy feeling. We just finally built things strange enough to set it off on purpose. The androids, the avatars, the faces that are almost, but not quite, alive. And maybe when your dog stops dead and stares at the empty corner of the room, hackles up, growling at nothing you can see. Maybe it's running that same ancient code, the same alarm, the same whisper that kept something somewhere alive a very long time ago. That's wrong. Don't go closer.